What's up guys, Josiah LaRue here. So today we're going to be talking about virtual reality. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about some of the latest news and technology, including virtual reality, Apple News, and a heads-up display in your car. So let's go. So today we're going to be talking about virtual reality, specifically Oculus Rift Developer Kit 2. So I think I've talked about this before, but just for a recap, Oculus Rift is a company that makes virtual reality goggles, or the ability to strap on a pair of goggles. They look like kind of a oversized ski goggles, and you look into them and it's got a display inside, and as you move your head around, it moves the world with you. So like your head is panning the camera around. So you kind of get a more immersive experience into the world. So they released their first version about a year ago at CES 2013, or that's when they demoed it, and then it came out a little bit later. And now a year later at CES 2014, they were talking about Developer Kit 2, and now it's finally starting to show up. So what's the difference and what's so special about Developer Kit 2? Well, first of all, they made it lighter. It's not necessarily that much smaller, but it is a little bit slimmer. It's just a little bit thicker. But the reason for the thickness is because they put a bunch of infrared LEDs. So it emits light, but it's infrared, so you can't necessarily see it. But there's a camera that you like set on top of your monitor or whatever, and it tracks all those little lights. So when you move your head, it more accurately tracks where your head is, and then it can move the camera better. So it just is better control and a better finesse of where your head is, means where the camera is actually facing and where you're actually seeing. So it's a little bit more accurate in its tracking. Also, they increased the performance of the display by putting a better display in it. What's interesting though is the display is actually the display from a Samsung Galaxy Note 3. That's right, they just took a Samsung Galaxy Note 3, ripped the screen off, and then connected it to their board and their hardware. They then overclocked it to 75 Hertz. So why would you overclock a display? Well, what that allows them to do is lower persistence. Now, persistence is how long an image stays on the screen. If you're looking at a flat screen that isn't moving with your head, I mean, you're just looking at it, the movement has to be in flow with the gameplay that is going on the screen. But if you're moving your head, then that has to do with not only the gameplay, but also your head movement. So that adds an extra axis and another variable. But why low persistence is important here is if you're whipping your head around a lot, if it doesn't clear that screen really fast, you'll see ghosting or faint remnants of the old image layered on with the new one. And it just kind of looks ugly. It doesn't make it look as good. So by increasing the frequency by which the display is refreshed, or how many times it writes new images to the screen, it allows them to have a sharper image that does not ghost from previous images and just gives you a very clear view all the way through your entire experience. Now, this really has to do with the developers and for them to use Developer Kit 2 software and allow their games to actually fully utilize this. There's not that many out there yet, so reviewers haven't gotten to fully see that experience, but from those who have been using DK2, they say it leaps and bounds ahead of the last one. So yeah, Oculus Rift Developer Kit 2 is now out. It'll be interesting to see as developers start using it. We're still a fair bit away from when it's going to be released for commercial use, but the way virtual reality technology has just advanced in the last 2 years since Oculus Rift came out, and now there's competitors and everything, it's just very interesting to see how fast this market is going, and it's definitely the way of the future to allow you to like strap on goggles and see something in a 3D world without you ever having to go anywhere. A popular example of this would be for someone to go video record a popular landmark or something like that. Then you can put on the Oculus Rift goggles and move your head around, and it looks like you're exploring that famous landmark without ever having to actually go there. So there's a lot of cool possibilities with Oculus Rift and virtual reality, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes in the future. So now let's talk about some Apple news. So the rumors about the iPhone have been flying around for a while, but the latest rumor is the actual release date. So Recode is a news site, kind of not an official one, but they put out a lot of different rumors and kind of have the inside know before things happen. In the past, they've been fairly reliable, but what they're saying is that the Apple event for the iPhones is going to be September 9th. Now, we don't necessarily know this, and we won't definitely know for another couple of weeks until Apple sends out the official news invitations to the press, but It's pretty reliable. It sounds very accurate. The first week or so of September, or the second week, has typically been when Apple releases new iPhones, since they shifted away from their WWDC launches. So we should probably see it. Now, as for what they'll actually be releasing, there's still a bit of controversy on that. We know there will be at least one iPhone and possibly two larger displays, 4.7 and maybe even 5.5 inch, so large departures from what we have now, but I definitely think that's a good thing. And as well as possibly even an iWatch. Now, there's been ups and downs about that. Wearables is something that definitely Apple will get into, if not this year, but next year, but we'll have to see what all they release. Also, the iPads are going to need to be refreshed, but I don't think that that's going to happen at this event, as they don't want to overshadow the iPhone. That'll probably go into something later in the year, probably right before Christmas, and then everybody will buy new iPads right at Christmas time, so a good marketing scheme that way. So yeah, we're hopefully getting at least one, if not two iPhones right around the second week of September, so I'm pretty pumped for that. And finally, let's talk about virtual reality, or like a heads-up display in your car. So several higher-end auto manufacturers have put in HUDs, or heads-up displays, in their cars before over the last 5 to 6 years, in things like Lexus, Audi, Buick, and a couple of them, and other ones like that. But what's so cool about a HUD? Well, a HUD allows you to see things without necessarily having to take your eyes off the road or break your view even looking down to an instrument panel or something like that. It just displays a virtual screen right on your windshield or right in front of your line of sight, so that you can just look kind of through it, still keeping your eyes on the road, yet still get the information that you need to know. But what I want to talk about today is called Navdy, N-A-V-D-Y. It's a new startup company, and what they're doing is they're releasing their standalone heads-up display, in that it's a base, probably about that big, just sets on your dash, kind of right in front of your steering wheel. It has a 5-inch heads-up display with a projector below it shining up onto the display, and it does a lot. It really takes a heads-up display to a new level, as it uses voice activation as well as gestures. Yes, you can swipe left and right and up and down in accordance to what's on the screen, and it'll track your finger and then respond to that. So say you want to accept a call, swipe left to right. So say you want to end it, right to left. Say you're in music, skip forward, skip back, adjust the volume. You can also talk to it, say compose a text and then talk to it, or answer this text, or compose a tweet or a Facebook message or whatever. Yes, it works with Spotify, Facebook, WhatsApp, messages, and a whole lot more, for allowing you to really connect with your device. It also has a very interesting, what I thought was a very interesting feature, in that it does split screen. So if you're in a call and you're also trying to do navigation at the same time, it'll split it, so you can still see where you're supposed to be going, so you don't miss that important turn while you're on the phone. So I think that is very practical and very handy. I think in the next few years, as prices come down for things like this and we get more and more into the smart car, or the connected car, that heads-up displays are going to be very commonplace. But this is cool in that it allows you to add this fancy new heads-up display to a really old car as well, just as long as you have a 12-volt and a cell phone. Because really most of it relies on your cell phone to get that internet connection, to connect with the smart apps on your phone or whatever. But it really allows you to have extra access to your phone in a way that does not disrupt you from just doing normal stuff and disrupt you from your actual driving. So I think that's really cool. But the price for this technology right now, because it is new and because this company is just starting to get off the ground, is a little bit high. The units right now on their pre-sale only cost $300. However, when they go full retail, at least for their first iteration or whatever, are going to be $500. So that is a little bit expensive, but you do get a very cool bit of technology and a way to make your even old car more modern and safer when you're texting or calling or doing maps or whatever, without having to look down at your phone or whatever. So definitely cool technology, and if it wasn't so expensive, something I would probably buy it myself. Pretty dang cool. Hopefully we'll see it start being integrated more into cars in the future. So yeah guys, that's some of the latest news in technology right now. Hope you enjoyed the show. Let me know in the comment box down below, what do you think about Oculus Rift and the whole virtual reality thing? Is that something that interests you? Also, what about Navdy? Do you think that's a cool display? I mean, would you drop the $300 for something like that allows you to see maps, answer text, and do all that without ever having to take your eyes off the road? Is your safety and that cool feature worth the money like that? Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. As always guys, thanks for watching. you can see last week's episode here and what I talked about down here. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember to hit that like and subscribe button down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!